Greetings, Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. Thank you so much for checking out today. I'm back. It's been a while. I've had a very extensive leave. A bit maybe too long. It wasn't intended to be this long of an extended leave. It was only supposed to have been like a few weeks, but then time and life flew by, but now I'm back. But I want to say a massive thank you for everyone on here and on Timeline View TikTok that has taken the time still to check out my previous videos, giving me a like, a subscribe, a comment. Honestly, thanks to you, you have kept this channel alive whilst I've been away, and I can't be any more grateful for that. But now I'm back and we've got some great things to celebrate, haven't we? We've got two episodes thought to have been lost forever has come back, and are now on BBC iPlayer here in the UK, and of course on Timeline View. No, it's not on Timeline View. It's on the official Doctor Who YouTube channel. I'm talking about episodes 1 and 3 of the 12-part epic First Doctor story, The Daleks Master Plan. With thanks to Film is Fabulous, their extensive hard work has found these episodes and brought them back to the archives and restored and catalogued them. Basically, they were found by a previous private collector, has been named Anonymous, and who sadly passed away. And Film is Fabulous managed to acquire these back for the BBC and now there for everyone to enjoy. So this is not like a full review of the Daleks Master Plan. I think I will do that at some point, but because it's still sort of most of the episodes are lost, I think it's something I would leave for another day. But I wanted to sort of share my thoughts on the two missing episodes, and I'll also talk about episode 2 of the Daleks Master Plan, because we've got 3 episodes now out of the 12 that we can watch one after the other. Obviously then it goes on to, I think, like episodes 9 and 10, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. That, and then the rest are still sadly missing. Well, let's go through the new episodes and just kind of just do my little cliff notes of what I enjoyed, what I noticed from these episodes. So my first thought watching these 3 episodes back to back is how dark of a story this goes, and how it sort of continues. So this was written by, of course, Dalek creator Terry Nation, and also was co-written by Dennis Spooner, I believe. And yeah, it is very much dark in tone, borderline on mean-spirited at times. It does have its sort of light-hearted moments later on in the story. Of course, this was the 12-part epic where episode 7 was basically the first official Doctor Who Christmas special with A Feast of Stephen that was broadcast on on Christmas Day 1965. And that was kind of more of a self-contained episode, because the BBC was like, oh, you need to have something more light-hearted on Christmas Day rather than what's been kind of going on throughout this 12-part saga. Not to say that 60s Doctor Who, or at least the William Hartnell era of Doctor Who, didn't have its dark moments. You know, think of the very first story, An Unearthly Child, where the Doctor grabs a rock to polish off a caveman. But I imagine those, you know, for me, I felt that those moments are very few and far between, or very much sort of quite subtle. But here, I think they go all in, and I like that. I do quite like my dark stories, as much as the fun and light-hearted, entertaining ones. But for me, it kind of, this was at the height of Dalek Mania as well. We've had the 2 60s Peter Cushing movies pretty much by this point. And yeah, this is, like I said, Dalek Mania at its height. And the Daleks do come back in a big way compared to when we last saw them in The Chase, where they were kind of more, they were aiming for more of a comedic value for the Daleks, with some of the sort of pratfalls that happened, and how they kind of got themselves into like very weird and out there situations. But here, the Daleks are back to their old sinister guile, I would say, particularly the when you first see them on screen with the one of the members of the Space Marine people, and get exterminated and pretty much burnt to death anyway as well. I don't know if that was sort of intentional from what was kind of happening in the story, but yeah, it looked like it was kind of burnt. And it is, no pun intended, it is a full-on master plan for the Daleks, having this big sort of alliance of other members of the galaxy in their conquest of the universe, and they've got this device, I think it's called the randomizer, and Mavic Chen, who is like the big cheese of the universe, played brilliantly by Kevin Stoney, minus the questionable makeup of the time. We'll leave it as that. Who's got this dranium, which is this very rare mineral that can only be found on a certain planet, and has got enough to basically make this super weapon work, so the Daleks can create or can control the universe. But the Doctor accidentally intervenes, and he's out there to stop him amongst a lot of friends. So when we pick up seeing the Doctor, and this is what I again sort of picked up from these 3 episodes, William Hartnell had a lot to do, because when we first see the Doctor, Stephen, and new companion Katerina, played by Adrian Hill. Stephen is injured from the previous story. The Mythmakers. So the Doctor and the companions escape ancient Greece, but Stephen is hurt. Where I would say like Ian and Barbara and Stephen pretty much carried, or Vicky as well to a certain extent. The companions kind of carried the story, and the Doctor was kind of the central figure. Here, I felt that the roles were reversed. William Hartnell was carrying a lot of the of these 3 episodes on his back, which is incredibly difficult to do anyway. But given sort of William Hartnell's sort of health, sort of round about this time as well, and when you look at him sort of forgetting his lines or fluffing up his lines, I think he did a really good job here. This was kind of probably one of the best moments of William Hartnell's era, and again, the restoration of these of episodes 1 and 3 of the Daleks Master Plan really shows how good he is as an actor, and how he portrayed the first Doctor. Yeah, he had his sort of like twinkle in his eye moments when he captures Brent, played by Nicholas Courtney. I'll get to him in a moment. So when he captures Brent in his sort of mechanical, invisible force field chair, and the big reveal of him discovering the Daleks on this planet as well. Yeah, there was a lot that he carried on here and did so well, really well. If anything, I think I hope William Hartnell is proud of his work, particularly in this story. Episode 1 also restores the debut of Nicholas Courtney, not as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, but as Brent, who is an officer from the Space Corps. Again, I've forgotten the name. I do apologise. And he wants to get off this planet to warn Earth of the impending invasion of the Daleks. And yeah, Nicholas Courtney is, you can see why he's cast in future Doctor Who as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. Very sort of I think he was kind of dubbed at the time as Bond in space. There was kind of like that 007-esque characterization for Brent. And yeah, again, Nicholas Courtney does a great job. He's tough as nails and hard when he wants to be, but also compassionate and logical and reasonable again when he wants to be as well. when he gets captured by the first Doctor and sees that Stephen is hurt. He convinces Katerina to get the drugs that will help Stephen get better. So there's definitely a double-sided coin to Brent, and again, it's great that now we get to see Nicholas Courtney's full debut as this character, and which springboards his legacy in Doctor Who. We also get to see lots more of Katerina, played by Adrian Hill. So I didn't know much of Katerina. The only things that I do know, there's obviously, spoiler alert, she dies in episode 4. So a little bit of that is still restored. And obviously she was the first companion to had died in the history of Doctor Who. We had 3 others in classic era. Sarah Kingdom, who was played by Jean Marsh, who dies later on in this story, and of course Port Adric in the 5th Doctor story, Earthshock. But now we get a bit more of Katerina, and again, hats off to Adrian Hill. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly as well, because yeah, she did a really good job. This was a very difficult character to do. So she was basically plucked by the first Doctor to go on these wild adventures in space and time, and she was from ancient Greece, so she saw the Doctor as a god, and obviously a very primitive lady. You know, she wouldn't know anything about space and technology and the universe that we're living in. So there was a lot of sort of naivety to the character, but I thought she played it off really well. I think someone else in that role would have had a really difficult time and probably been like a really annoying character. But her here, she's been brilliant. You know, the playing off the Doctor, the Doctor sort of treating her as like a grandchild, but Brent not knowing her backstory, sort of treating her as someone as really dumb. But again, she plays it off really well. And one of the highlights from these 2 missing episodes, and I think it's from the 3rd episode, is where Katerina is touching the glass when they're on the rocket ship, and seeing space for the first time. It's a lot of foreshadowing to what happens to her in episode 4, The Traitors, and if anything, it just heightens her death more. You know, already Adrian Hill had the legacy of being one of the first companions to have died in Doctor Who, but now, thanks to the restoration of these 2 episodes, I think it's just really has enhanced her legacy. And I know obviously we had the audio of these stories, but seeing Adrian Hill playing Katerina, yeah, it really sort of just enhanced her importance in the universe of Doctor Who, I would say. And yeah, when I finished watching these episodes for this video, I watched a clip of her demise in the 4th episode, The Traitors. If you haven't seen that clip, do watch it. It's a lot of it is photo stills. There's a little bit of actual film that survives in the archives, but that moment with her being held hostage by one of the prisoners on the planet that the Doctor and co crash land on, and Stephen shouting out the name Katerina, you know, it is so dramatic and pretty violent for 1960s TV, you know. And this is where we're so lucky that we've got we managed to get these episodes back in the BBC archives, because for all we know so far, these episodes didn't get sold overseas like other 60s Doctor Who did, where obviously they used footage or films from other countries to bring back and restore. As far as I'm aware, Daleks Master Plan never left the UK because it was deemed too violent for overseas channels, so they didn't buy it. So this makes it even more rarer to find and restore these episodes. So again, incredibly lucky that we had this. But and like I said earlier, yeah, it is a very dark story, and particularly the scene of Katerina and the prisoner floating off into space. I don't know if that actually happened. I know from clips that I saw online, there is sort of like restoration work of her floating in space. If that actually happened, let me know in the comments below. And if it did, my God, that is some very harrowing moments in Doctor Who history. The sets used for the Dalek Master Plan is amazing. Probably one of the best sets from early 60s Doctor Who. The whole council room with all the delegates and the Daleks. When I'm talking about Mavic Chen and company, it's so good. And Douglas Camfield, again, he's already a legend in the universe of Doctor Who. Directed many classic Doctor Who stories, but man, was he the right person for the right job for this story, this 12-part epic, because he makes it feel so alive with his camera work and direction. And again, so fortunate we managed to get this back, some of this back. And I know there's been some classic sort of moments that has, and I'm sure it's from Dalek's Master Plan. There was a scene where, not in these 3 episodes, but from another episode, where you see a shot of the sun, and then the camera sort of the scene sort of cuts to the light reflecting off the Dalek dome. Such for again 60s Doctor Who on a shoestring budget, and where editing is not cheap. There are some magical moments in these 2 episodes, all brilliantly captured from the eye of Douglas Camfield. If you have not seen these episodes yet on either BBC iPlayer or Doctor Who YouTube channel, do take the time to check them out, because they are so good. Honestly, we are so fortunate to have these episodes back in the archives, because honestly, they're amazing. Honestly, it took my breath away. I had such a good time watching them on Good Friday over the weekend. I've watched them again as well, because it's something that we thought we would never ever have again. They were lost for nearly 60 plus years now, and luckily we've been fortunate enough that they have come back. If you want to know a bit more about Film is Fabulous, I'll put a link in the description below, because thanks to them, we are able to have these back in the BBC archives, back as part of the Whoniverse as well, here in the UK. And it's not just Doctor Who that they look at, they also look at other lost TV treasures, which sadly were lost to time, got chucked away. And again, as much as you can get angry about it, it's one of those things. But I'm so, and thanks to their tireless work, we get to see them once again. I know Peter Purvis was over the moon when they surprised him that they found these 2 episodes, and he was probably one of the first to watch them before it got onto BBC iPlayer, and rightfully so, because again, he was magnificent as Stephen in these episodes, particularly episode 4 as well. And yeah, like I said, the sets, the Daleks, seen more footage of the Daleks, seen more footage of William Hartnell as the First Doctor, seen more footage of Adrian Hill as Katerina, seen more footage of Nicholas Courtney as Brent. Overjoyed, absolutely overjoyed, and you should go out your way, if you haven't already, to check out these episodes. But if you have, let me know in the comments below. What did you think? Did you enjoy them? Were you disappointed? The one thing I did find a little bit baffling, so I wonder if they used like a different audio for these, was episodes 1 and 3, the Dalek voices of Peter Hawkins and David Graham sound more like the Dalek voices that was from the 60s movies, where in episode 2 it sounded more like the previous Dalek stories from the TV series. So I found that not jarring as such, but just fascinating. So if you know the reason why, maybe it was a different audio recording used for these lost episodes compared to the original broadcast one from episode 2. So if you know a bit more of that, I tried to research and I couldn't find anything, or no one's really mentioned it before. Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know where in the world you have watched these lost episodes. I would love to know. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the cloister bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on Facebook and X. And do check out my other fantastic Doctor Who related content on Timey Wimey Review TikTok. Of course, right here on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. Lots more videos to come in the future. I've got my quizzes. I've got my collection videos coming up because, as you can see, I have expanded on over the Christmas and winter period on more Doctor Who goodies. We'll be celebrating 20 years of the 10th Doctor this year, and I'll be certainly doing some more Doctor Who TikTok lives. Hopefully I'll be doing the Doctor Who TV movie as a live watch along, as well as some other 10th Doctors as episodes as well. So again, thank you very much for the bottom of my heart for checking out these videos whilst I've been away, and I do look forward to seeing you very, very soon. But thanks again for watching. Till we meet again.